Thank you, Irene, and ladies and gentlemen, it's really a privilege also to make this presentation. I am basically doing this on behalf of the ICAR group rather than my personal position in South Africa. So I would like to just, it's a little bit of a gear change in terms of the previous three speakers, which I would like to congratulate, to set the scene for, I think, a very fruitful discussion afterwards in the groups. So I would like to quickly take you through maybe some possibilities, and obviously this could be open for debate on how we as a continent in Africa can utilize two, I think, very useful bodies in assisting us to increase the productivity of our farm animals. I'm also glad that the previous speaker started at the farmer, and I think maybe that's something that we need to keep in mind all the time, that we are dealing with people that keep or own animals, farm animals, and it's all about making a livelihood or otherwise from those animals. Okay, so I will then be talking on Interbull and Interbeef, and just to give you just a glimpse, and Martin has started yesterday with what ICAR is, just to give you an idea, if I talk about Interbull and Interbeef, how would those two bodies actually fit into the bigger picture in terms of ICAR. So if this is the technical bodies in ICAR, I've left out one. There's a task force as well, so I did not mention that. You will see in ICAR, we basically have two groupings, if I can call it that, in terms of technical bodies. The one is the subcommittees, who are permanent, and in the case for Interbull, there's even an Interbull center located at SLU in Sweden. So this is Interbull. And you will see that Interbeef is one of the numerous working groups in ICAR. And maybe we could have extended this a little bit further to say, how can Africa or the African continent also tap in on the heck of a lot of other working groups that's also available in the ICAR family. So although I will concentrate on Interbull and Interbeef, I think we need to maybe expand our vision in the ICAR family that can be useful, I think, for us as African countries. Okay, so just part of this background, I've said that Interbull is an ICAR permanent subcommittee, where Interbeef is a working group. A working group does not necessarily have the same status or level, if you can call it that, in the ICAR family, but it's also a permanent institution or a group in the ICAR family. Both these bodies have well-established terms of references, and both of them are basically making use of the ICAR guidelines in terms of animal registration or identification and registration. You cannot, and I think the previous speakers have made it very clear that you have to start with the foundation and then the building blocks when you end up at recording and selection for animal productivity. Both these groups have an extensive network of scientists, volunteers. ICAR work on the principle of volunteers. We are not paid to do this, so one do it from as a passion and to be part of the global community to enhance the science and to work toward the increasing productivity of animals, of the farmers. The main focus of both these groups are genetic evaluation, but I have mentioned that you have to start with the building blocks of the guidelines. Interbeef, for example, is a bit of a remnant, not a remnant, or a new step up from the old beef working group in ICAR that actually drafted the guidelines for beef productivity recording. And I just think maybe the main thing would be the expertise in these groups, and that we can tap in on that. Quickly, Interbull. Interbull was established already in '83, which was a joint venture, if I can call it that, between ICAR, the European EAAP, and the International Dairy Federation. The Interbull Genetic Evaluation Service was established, and since '93, we have multiple cross-country genetic evaluations for dairy cattle. So it's possible, if you participate in the Interbull system, that you get genetic merit of animals on the basis of your own country's genetic evaluation. So it doesn't matter whether that animal was recorded or born elsewhere in Italy or in Canada or the US, you also get the genetic merit of that animal on the basis of your own dairy population. It has become a very essential asset in terms of AI and other role players in the dairy industry. Currently, Interbull is doing 81 dairy populations of 6 breed groups, like the black and whites, the red cattle, the jerseys and so forth, in 32 countries for 40 different traits. So it's possible then, if one makes use of this service, to get the right animal for the right job, if possible. And like I've said, it's built on a network of academics, scientists, and the market, exporters, the AI industry, and even competitors form part of the Interbull family. Interbull has actually caused a major change, I think, or transformation in the way that we deal with dairy genetics, and it also provides a forum and publications. I think maybe us from the African continent should actually get more involved in these conferences and the interactions with Interbull so that we can get our needs across and they know what challenges we face in using a service like that. Basically, the people in Interbull, and it's people like us, scientists and otherwise, that's making the contributions. And I think in that regards, we can play a big role from the African continent. The objectives in the terms of reference, it's the first thing is facilitating communication, the documentation of genetic evaluation systems. So you're welcome to go onto the Interbull website and actually see what systems are being used by different countries, the models that they use for genetic predictions and so forth. Also facilitating global genetic evaluation and supplying those services to their members, and then also advisory services. And I think that is where we can also tap in more, and coordination of international research. It was very interesting to just check the scatter plots on the genomic information in terms of the genetic distances of animals or the grouping. And I think we can already maybe make a contribution there or get more information out. And then publications, technical working groups. So if Interbull needs to tackle a specific problem, you can form a technical working group and they can work on those problems and report back to the main body. And then the Interbull Center that's run in Sweden as well to render these services. As far as Interbeef is concerned, it's a younger member in the ICA family, but we have also seen that there's extremely good collaboration amongst countries already on the beef side, and it's a start. The approach is different. The technical or the scientific approach is a bit different to what Interbull is doing, and I think the forum is already established. And I think this continent carries many more beef cattle than dairy cattle. So maybe the role in Interbeef can be bigger in future. And remember, Interbeef is also responsible for the guidelines of recording performance in beef cattle. So even though we can maybe start walking in certain cases, or we can fly with the rest in terms of the genetic evaluations. I think it's also the challenges of cattle populations. Currently it's European and some of the South African breeds are in there, but I think we can expand that to other groups of animals. And it's also then a new opportunity in terms of trade in livestock as well. Data exchange is different to Interbull. Here we work with phenotypic data and pedigrees. So the Interbull Center is assisting Interbeef in the exchange of pedigrees and phenotypes, the actual phenotypes, the measurement at farm level, but also building up a repository of genotypes. And I think that's an exciting move in the Interbeef family. Obviously, data sharing also needs to work within certain frameworks, legal frameworks especially, and like I said, the Interbull Center is the pivot of this data exchange. Okay, then just looking at some of the ideas I have on possible services to African countries. I think the first one is the knowledge base that's already established in the two bodies. I think we can really tap in on that and make use of that knowledge base. I think this symposium is a good starting point for just that, and especially the needs of the continent. The new guidelines that Badi has mentioned is, I think, an essential point of how do we marry the ICAR guidelines with what the FAO new guidelines would propose on implementation. And I think that's a new opportunity for us in Africa to see how we can actually marry the two, and it's not contradictory. The reference is always there back to the ICAR guidelines in terms of technical aspects, where the FAO guidelines assist you in implementation phases. And I think that could be a very nice challenge to face in the next few years. And then the basic knowledge base, and I think that's important. I was a bit alarmed, I don't know, of the other people in the audience, but there's a workshop this week in Europe on the application of genomics in Africa. And it seems as if these two symposiums are, there's no real link. And I would have thought that would have been excellent if we could have it back to back here in Pretoria. It's just by chance that I heard of that workshop. And I think those are the type of things where you can use new technologies, high-tech technologies, to solve the problems at ground level. Okay, then I think one of the major things is not necessarily the measurement and the recording, but the setting of breeding objectives. And how do we use that objective to select the right animals to actually increase the productivity within the constraints of the environmental limits and other limits, management limits that we might have. So I think there's a good possibility that we take hands in that regard. Also, the appropriate genotypes that will work in our production systems and our environmental and other constraints. Some of the most expensive things nowadays could be laboratories and getting the genotypes or the genomic profiles. And I think we need to also, and I'm so glad Andre is here from Illumina, and we will listen to what he will present later on. And I think we as a continent must embrace new technologies and see how we can also work with our fellow researchers and groups in these two bodies to make the best use of GWAS studies and other studies using this technology. That is what I had to say, Chairperson. I don't know, I will entertain questions. What I also did is so long on behalf of Martin is to put the 3 discussion questions up that we will discuss after the break. So if you guys can just, we'll keep the slide on. So if you can just write down the 3 questions so long, so that, and I won't organize it, I think Badi and them will organize that, but I just added that on the last slide. Thank you very much.